I hit a button, and from there it will generate the details I need in DocuSign, put it on a template, it will send it out to them for signature, it'll track that signature, it'll send it to me for my signature when I am done, and then after that it will put that attachment into Airtable and clock them as onboarded, right? All of that through Make. So onboarding process just went from an hour and a half, 2 hours, to literally 15 minutes, and I can create and start working on someone's file. So as we're walking through this, that's kind of where I want you to see and think of how do you implement this in your business, because I know what I do does not work for everybody, right? I'm not gonna go very much into Make. I think you guys all just kind of got that. If you're not familiar with Make, I will reiterate what I said, that I truly believe it is like the Mac of automations. It was what was out there. Everybody is used to it. Everyone is used to that front end interface and how it works. And to take it to Make is to take it up a step or take it up a notch, right? You are able to really dive down into the data you're pulling and how you're manipulating it, and then, I mean, let's just face it, you know, visually it's way more appealing. And then the cost. You can't beat the cost between them. And I'll go into a little bit of a breakdown of kind of a cost comparison on an actual real life basis. So the platform we're actually going to be talking about today, that's my third party that I'm bringing in, is AeroPage. So if you've never gone to them, their website is aeropage.io, and I suggest while I'm talking to you about this, you can go there, create an account, get your Airtable account connected with them. Gotta breathe, sorry. I talk fast and I talk a lot, so if y'all are like just slow down or stop talking, it's okay, you can yell at me. As I mentioned earlier, I work on a very small scale profitability, right? Make $400 a file. You close 1,500 files a year. Y'all can do that math. I can't staff 5 full people. The cost isn't there, right? I do have overseas help, yep. But to have somebody in my office and sit with me, or that can go and meet people and be in front of people, that costs money. Last year, I hired somebody for $70,000 a year that had 4 years in the business, came experienced. They lasted about 7 months, which was about 4 months too long. But I thought I needed somebody in person, right? I needed to make it to where my business was no longer about me. It wasn't just what was in my brain. And I've learned through trial and error and hires and fires that for me, that doesn't come into a training manual. That doesn't come into sitting one-on-one with somebody. I don't have the patience for that. And I've learned that over time. So for me, the easiest way to put my brain on paper and make my business scalable was to automate as much as I possibly can. There's a member in our real estate transaction coordinator community that will tell you when you're looking at your systems and your processes, something to think about, or 3 things to think about is it scalable? Is it duplicatable? And can you make it freakishly predictable, right? And that was exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to take me out of my business. I wanted to take the human error out of my business, and I wanted to make it better, right? I don't look at automation as losing efficiency, of course you don't lose efficiency on it, as losing quality. I personally believe it improves it. We take that human error away and we improve our systems, and in a day and an age where everyone is literally getting questions and answers in 30 seconds from AI, I gotta keep up, right? If I am not innovating, if I am not moving my business forward and automating those responses and giving somebody else an instant answer, I will be out of a job. So automation to me was my only answer of where to take my business, and I am happy to say that with how many files we run and what we do and our marketing and everything that's out there, I have truly a 4-man team. That is it. I have 2 people here in the States and I have 2 VAs in the Philippines, which have worked with me for 2.5 years and are the greatest things that have ever happened to me. So when it comes to automation, I am a key, please do it. Do it now. Automate everything you can. And if you don't think you can do it, I guarantee you there's some way that you can automate. So AeroPage, sorry, that was a total ramble off of this being free. That was all this was going to, was me saying that my profit margins are really low, so anything free and low cost, I'm going for. So AeroPage has been around, honestly, less than a year. I discovered it, I think Mike is the creator. I want to say he lives in France. I've never met him or spoken to him, I've emailed him. And he posted about it in the Airtable community a while ago, and I instantly jumped on it. And I said, what is this? What can it do? What can I switch it out and change it for? I was using mini extensions at the time for updating records, for forms, things like that, right? How many of us got grandfathered into mini extensions pricing? And how many of us did not, right? They literally doubled their prices. So I was looking for an answer for those type of things, and AeroPage came about, and literally I was in Georgia at the time, and it came out and I saw it, and by that afternoon I was automating every single social media post we were putting out there already. That's how quickly I moved over. I don't dilly-dally, like I get shit done. If I like it, I'm going for it. So we implemented it right away. Little bit of a cost analysis. I didn't want to go into crazy details on this, but just to kind of give you a picture, right? Mini extensions is now what? 87 a month, right? And then if you're on the annual plan, you're looking at, 1,500-ish. Zapier, I base this off of a Zapier account doing 10,000 runs. And this is your annual plan versus your monthly plan, right? So Zapier, annually, you're looking around $1,600 a month. Okay, that's great. But again, I go back to profit margins. If I can make that $0, I'm gonna take it. So when it comes to make.com, that same $10,000 Zapier run, that cost me $90 a month or $1,600 a year, cost me $11. I think that's it, $11 a month. Like, okay, that's 10 times the difference. I'm gonna take that. And AeroPage obviously being free. I'm not gonna pass that up, so I'm gonna use it in every way that I possibly can. So that's a lot of words, and I would much rather just demonstrate going through something and making it in AeroPage with you, and also putting that onto either social media, going through a make scenario. I'm gonna do a really quick as I can, kind of run through of this, so if you'll bear with me as I switch screens. So if you have not gone to AeroPage, I'm gonna try to get back to their homepage, sorry, I'm logged in. This is what they look like right now. He actually just changed this on me like 2 days ago, and I was like, oh, thanks, because I can't use those in the slides anymore. They have Airtable integrations. As you can see, they also integrate with Notion. I know Airtable and Notion users are kind of hand in hand with some people, right? They, some use both, some moved from one to the other, so, or they should just move to Airtable. They have, sorry, we're gonna go right into their free tools. So they're coming out with different stuff, and I will say he is constantly changing, constantly adding. Everything I have sent him as far as what I needed, it was done within a week within his development team and pushed out. I'm hoping, I can't speak for them, I'm hoping that that's always the case, right? But I also understand people get big and get busy, and right now, if you're in there on the ground floor, I'm gonna take it. So I did talk to him last week, and I said, if you are ever thinking about putting a price tag on this tool, you should tell me now. And he has no intention. Right now, if they are rolling out any sort of pricing, it is for large enterprise corporation users that he is working with, and for that, he is working with it on a front end basis. I guess you could compare it to like a Softer or a Stacker. I don't use those, so I don't know, but that's what I know. So for now, it's free, and if he ever raises his prices, y'all can email me and say what the hell. So once I'm in here, I'm gonna go to my free tools. You can see you've got a couple different things. You've got a PDF maker, you've got an image generator, an email designer, form builders, page designers. So form builder I use to update records within my base, right? I have an external platform that my agents can see and see all of their transactions and see their preferences. Form builder allows me to have them edit those preferences. No longer have to email me for them. PDF maker, image generator is exactly what it sounds like. You make a PDF or you make an image. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna kind of show you how I have an image set up. With the images, you can export them as images or as PDFs as well. So they kind of go hand in hand with one another. Once I click on that, I did actually just make sure my screen was still on. I didn't even look back when I did that, so thank you. You can see I have a bunch of different ones. So I want to think of this as a use case for everyone. I kind of wanted to give you an idea of what mine look like visually, what we're using them for. I can create an invoice with this if I wanted to. So every single social media post you see here, this one being somebody went under contract, this one being somebody closed on a piece of land, every single one of these images is done through AeroPage. So it makes it look like I have a marketing team behind me posting all of this stuff, right? These are also posted instant. The second a record comes in, or the second a file closes, they are posted instantly. My agents are notified. They will tag this, they will share it. Agents love to brag. So it's helped my business tremendously on that one. It's free marketing for me. So I want to go through and create something similar like this, or we can create an invoice if anyone has any specific. I understand like not everyone posts to social media 17,000 times a day, but I want you to get the concept of it. So if I am in AeroPage, I am going to, we'll use our agent closed one. I'm just praying to God that this whole thing loads and works, because this is not my platform. Sorry, not that one. Post. Let's do that. Pretty good there, right? Okay. So I've connected it to my base. I've told which base to pull in. Used an Airtable URL. That's literally it. That's all I've done to connect it to here. From that Airtable URL, it's pulling in that base view that I'm giving it to it. That view can change over time. I recommend you just have like a demo view or an AeroPage view that you can filter all your records through. It doesn't matter. At this point, I can choose any of my records in my entire base. So I can switch over to this record, and it's going to change. You can see that instantly to who that person is, who that property is, who that agent is, all of their details that are pulling from my base, right? I've gone through at this point, I created just a custom size, and I went with kind of a size that fits both on Instagram and Facebook because I didn't want to do two different scenarios. But you can see though, there's pre-templated sizes, right? So if you are making this for Instagram, if you are making this for Facebook, if you are doing this as a letter, as a invoice, whatever that might be, you can go ahead and select any of those sizes. You can select your own. I've gone through and pulled a background that I created on Canva and then just hosted it on Imager. It's free, right? Does anyone know what Imager is, or actually doesn't know what Imager is? Do not know what it is. Okay, well, I'll show you real quick. So in a sense, I had a Canva design, downloaded the PNG, JPEG, whatever it might be, right? If I go to Imager, as long as I'm logged in, people post their memes, their GIFs, whatever they're creating on here. Again, completely free. Do you see the theme here? Like, free. So if I go to new post, I can upload the image that I created in Canva, and it hosts it into my account. And if I go into my account, you can see all the different times I have redesigned all of these images. So once it's in here, I can literally, I'll open it up. This is what you'll see. I can right click on this. I'm going to say copy image address. From there, I'm going to go right back to AeroPage. And I have for my background just a paste of that image URL. That's it. So I can create stuff in AeroPage. I can put shapes in there. I can put text in there. I can do all of that. I like Canva because you can do a lot more with it. So that is the reason I've chosen to do it that way. But every text you see here, every box, all of that has been done through AeroPage. So once I have my background, and I don't screw up my post, I can pull in components from my base. So right in here, I've got add components. I can add a text, I can add an image, and then again, going back to the shapes and things like that, right? So text, I can pull in any field from my base. If Airtable wishlist or desk is still here, I have 500 fields and I use them all, and I need more. So I can pull in anything if I have images, things like that, if I have text in here. HTML markdowns do work as well. So if you want to bold your text, start it with a strong, end it with a strong, do italicize, whatever it might be, right? You can do all of that within HTML markdowns. You can do your break lines, your new lines, all of that. So I am pulling in this case, this one I'm pulling in, that's a full address from my property or from my base. I have a logo, which is an image, pulling that in. I can resize my images. This guy came in as a square image. I've gone through and I've just added a border radius and done whatever I want with it, right? So it's all live, it's all dynamic. I can do whatever I want in here. From here, I will just kind of publish and post it. And if I wanted to export a static image and not actually utilize this in live time, updating every time, right? Maybe I wanted to create Airtable badges with everyone's faces on them. I could go through and I could create that badge right now, and then I could say export to Airtable, choose which field I'm putting it into, right? My attachment field, and go ahead and push them all there. So now I'm not going through and I'm not creating one image at a time, downloading it, uploading it into Airtable. I'm literally saying go and publish all 100 attendees' name badges into that attachment field. Let's see what else. So we've got agent names, kind of gone through in a nutshell how to create an image. It's not that hard. I mean, we've all used different platforms, right? Like we've all used Canva, we've created images. It's the same thing. You're just saying, what do I want from my Airtable base on this image, right? From here, I have a image that I can open that will give me a URL. And this URL is what I take everywhere. So this is what we'll actually utilize in a make scenario and what I pull through if it loads. There we go. So I trigger all of my make scenarios pretty much through webhooks. I like instant gratification, so I don't like searching for records. I don't like waiting the 5 minutes. I need a webhook. For me, in this case, it's changing a status from under contract to close, right? That's it. That's the trigger. I'm using it for other stuff, so why not throw the webhook in there? I should actually show you guys that webhook too, because that's part of it. The webhook script that I am showing and all of the breakdown of how I'm actually doing this step by step is in the slides, if you guys want the slides when I'm done. I don't know where else I was going with that. There was something else with getting information from it, but no. And let's find our trigger.
Add a search.
That would be nice, right? Can we add that function too? Search.
Yes.
But it's gonna be my closed.
At least now there's sections.
Yeah.
Yes.
Better, yes.
You can move
Baby
it.
steps.
Yes, sections was a big, yeah.
I don't even know what my trigger is. I'll say it's a closed file. There we go. Look at me renaming stuff like I actually know what I'm doing. Closed file. So for us, it's when a record enters a view, right? That's all this is. This is not even the one because that doesn't have a script on it. Sorry, guys.
Hopefully help desk is here, we can see now that there's a need.
There's a need to be able to search for my automations because I also use them all. That's sending a text, close file. All right, let's just do it this way. So we won't be running it through that pace, but it's the same thing, right? Record matches certain conditions, enters a view, whatever I want my trigger to be, then my next step is saying run a webhook. So I will be completely honest, or Camille or Kuvan in this, but I probably stole this script from them, as I think like everyone did with 80% of every script that they have. I won't say steal, it's posted on Airtable community, so it's like, it's there. I'm not a script writer, right? You can put a script in front of me, I can probably like break it down after this amount of use of Airtable, but there's no way that my brain functions like theirs does. So kudos to them for everything that they do and contribute to this community. So my script, I use one variable or one value there. There's your record ID, that's all it is. And then it's a very, very simple script. We're saying, let that URL, this becomes my webhook, which I'll show you how to get in just a second. And the rest of it is just inputting it and outputting the record ID so that make can find that later on. So the way that make works, if you've never utilized it, is when you start a scenario, if I want my trigger to be a webhook, that's not it. It'll work.
I wanted to,
Go ahead.
did you know that Airtable has its own webhook? That you can use instead of that one?
No.
Yeah. Search Airtable, and it's instant.
Based upon my own triggers?
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go.
It's the same thing, except just the Airtable specific.
All right, I'm gonna look into that one tonight. I got work to do. So pretty much though, make will give you the webhook, right? You don't have to go and figure out what it is you're looking for or make one or do anything like that. So it gives you the webhook, it gives you that URL. You're literally just gonna copy and paste that URL into the script, end it with your record ID. That's it. From there, my make scenario. Will pull the output from that webhook. It'll get me that Airtable record ID. It'll then post that photo URL that we just took from AeroPage, right? I can pull it from here. I can also pull it throughout my settings. There's a sharing link here I can copy. I'm gonna post that right into the make scenario URL for Instagram. And I'm just gonna end it with the record ID and switch it out. So now every time that it posts something, it's changing it live each and every time, right? I don't have to go and find that agent, don't have to go and find that property. It's pulling it from the record ID and it's that background. So I also do the same thing with Facebook pages. You can at that point too, create your own custom message, bring in whatever you want from Airtable. I have different routers. We change things up per teams, agents, brokerages, whatever the heck it might be. So filters, routers, all of that. So that's a really quick way of making a social media post, and that can be changed and utilized for anything in your base.
How is the AeroPage picture getting into Airtable?
Oh, that would be, no, it's not getting into Airtable. See, that's just it. I'm not sending this image to Airtable at all.
But you can if you want.
You can if you want to, right? You can pull in the URL and have an attachment to the attachment field,
Right.
but I'm pulling it in through make. I'm saying get that record. All I need is the record ID. That is all I need for this scenario.
So the record ID is calling the Airtable record, but how is the Airtable record getting the picture?
It's a preview.
I'm utilizing the AeroPage URL that is outputted, ending it with the record ID, and that is what's getting posted. It dynamically changes each and every time. So now I'm also saving a field in my base, because that was my other thing, was I needed a field. So now I'm not uploading an attachment field for that just sold post, right, or under contract post. It's doing it automatically for me through make. So less fields.
So you could.
You could absolutely push this just like that. You could take that same photo URL, end it with record ID. You could do that for.
And that right there.
This is from AeroPage.
Okay. And
This is right here. Copy the sharing link. It provides one for you, or like this button here I hit earlier. So I'm taking this URL. You can see that's my record ID
Right.
from Airtable, right? That's what's going to change each and every time.
Gotcha.
To your point of attachments, though, we can do the same thing with invoices. So if I have a invoice that I created, I think I used, don't know if I used PDF or if I used image generator when I did that one. Let's create one real quick. We will connect it to this base, pulling that Airtable URL from the view. And I'm gonna go find my image real quick on Imager, because I know I created one. Let's change our size to letter. Let's add a component. It's an image. My source is the Imager link. Resize that. Good enough, right? And we can bring in some fees. Oopsie. Bring in the address too. Let me refresh. refresh that, cause I probably hit some buttons I shouldn't. Alright, so bring in, for the item description, there's the address. And where did that fee go? Right here, right? With that fee too, yes, I brought in the field from Airtable, but I could add text in front of it, I could add text behind it. I'll do the dollar sign. We can change our sizing.
So even though you brought in a dynamic field, you can still add text to it?
We can still add text to it.
That's interesting.
And we'll publish preview, and let's grab that sharing link. So let's go back to our base. Let's hide everything here. Let's go to invoices. And let's go to automations and create invoice. So utilizing that same script, right? When a record is updated, I'm gonna say when I hit the button, create an invoice. And I'm gonna run a script. That's the wrong script. I do a lot of testing in my base. I think we all do that, right? So I have a lot of views, a lot. In all honesty, the last time I ran this too, this script renames the attachment that I bring in, instead of bringing in you'll see the AeroPage design just brings in your record ID as your attachment. So my poor companies were sending me checks where the memo was the Airtable record ID. They had no idea. I was like, I kind of feel a little bit bad, but not really. So in this case, all I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna say, when I hit create an invoice, update my record, I'm gonna bring in my field, I'm gonna put that AeroPage URL in there as well. And I'm gonna say /Airtable record ID. So if I go through now, as long as everything's live and this is going, and I hit create invoice, that should run in a second. There we go. So now it's attached, right? And then from there I can send out an automation with it being attached to an email. I could utilize it in an interface. I think I probably screwed something up there. But like you see here, same thing. Brought them in. They're attachments. I can download them. I can choose at this point too, how am I outputting it? Here we go. Export mode, image versus PDF. I personally choose images. I do see a lag in the image conversion quality from PDF into Airtable. He's working on that.
So the quality of the picture is different?
The quality of the picture is different. So you can see what this one looks like. This looks really clean, right? But if I open this up and really downloaded this and zoomed in, you just download as.
500% right in the browser, the reviewer.
Can you see how it's a little grainy? I mean, it's printable. It's not. It works.
I wouldn't complain.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And then to the point of the image conversion too, to my understanding from how he said it was that they were pushing the images into Airtable as like full images, where I think there's a size below it, which is what they were going to try to do to fix that problem. But that's above my pay grade.
So is this a PDF or an image?
That's a PDF.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, if I put it into the base as an image, absolutely, I could download it, open it as a PDF, right? And I was gonna go somewhere else with that, and then I lost it. So, create invoices. From here, if you wanted to then send out the invoices, you could do that. Any sort of attachment field. Again, I think think my biggest thing with this is these are not functionalities of programs we haven't seen before, right? We've seen the ability to dynamically change things in other platforms, but my biggest thing obviously always comes down to cost. So it's free, and it's not gonna hurt you to try it. It's not gonna cost you to try it. So we utilize it for kind of all of those. The big one that I utilize it for are weekly summary reports, as well as email integrations, creating HTML emails. How many of us, like 6 months ago, had legitimately massively long HTML codes as formulas in their Airtable base to send out emails, right? Like we were there, and then now I'm like, y'all just made it easy for everyone. So I utilize it in that regard, and I will kind of show you what those look like. So a prime example of that would be our, I like to use emojis, and as we like to say, we like to make things pretty. So that is what we do. Let's go to a summary report. Weekly summary report, and let's choose this guy. So again, I take that Airtable or that AeroPage URL. I could attach it to this email if I wanted to put that attachment in my base, but I don't. So here this is an email from AeroPage utilizing their HTML email designer. Just brought in a header, again, that I created in Canva, that I put in Imager, that I utilized up there, made my bold font, pulled in my stuff from Airtable. The coloring and stuff that I bring in here, I bring in hex codes from their logos. I have that stored in the base, right? So now I can change the text and the coloring of the text or whatever I want to do within it. And then for the outside user, all they have to do is click on that link and they get this summary report, which is all from my base, right? The property photo, that's like the one attachment we do actually pull in there. All of the property details, we have a timeline of the entire thing that updates as they go through it. They get to see contact details, they get to see kind of anything that they would want to know. This used to be a manual process of literally generating a summary report, attaching it to an email, and sending that email. And you can imagine doing that 150 times once a week is just ridiculous. So now it's completely automated, sends an email, we clear it out once a week, hit a button, update all of those records to say send email, and it's done. And then the new escrow, which does not want to pull up for me, is what this looks like. So again, we bring in colors per the person, per the brokerage, per the logo, per the company, whatever it might be. We've gone through and we can make all of these conditional as well. And that's my favorite part. I can say if there's not a loan on the property, don't bring in this paragraph that talks about a loan, right? I can say, if there are more than 2 people, I can say whatever, I can say whatever I want. So it really is, it's just pretty insane to me that this is it's just a platform that is out there that is completely free for everybody. Form builder, I was gonna go back to the email generator so y'all can see that real quick. Oh, yeah. With them as well, I have created workflows where an email will send to somebody saying, hey, do you want a review on this file? Do you want us to send a review to your client and have them put a review for you on social media? That person can, or that agent, can click a button in their email that says yes or no. From there, it'll update the record in my Airtable account. And then from there, that automation will run to send out the actual review. So it goes back to making it all dynamic, making it all workable. No, it's not gonna work. Being able to update the records, being able to put stuff out there that is visually pleasing for everybody, and to not utilize, I mean, I'll be honest, I was like locked into mini extensions. I felt like I had no way out, right? There we go. So this gets sent out as an email at the end of every file, right? Congratulations, that's great. Do you want to send it out? And they can click a button. Most of them still email back. Don't know that you can click the button. And then once they do that, you can see I have, this is a update within AeroPage where I can hit yes or no, and then from there it's triggering some sort of scenario. Scenario is not the right word because make is in the house. But what it does is, this is a workflow, so we send it to the agent. If the agent hits yes, sorry if this takes a little longer, they're gonna get a page that says like, yep, thanks for updating us, you know, that's great, we're gonna send you a review. And it sends data, there's a little hidden box here, that will update my Airtable field to yes. And then from there, either another webhook or another automation or whatever it might be, then sends that following email. So I can update records via emails at this point. I can update records via forms if I want them in a URL, which is what I've done for my agents on the outside, so I don't have to pay for them. And kind of, that's it, I guess, in a nutshell. There's a lot that I'm like trying to put into what this platform can do. And again, I have no affiliation with them. I just like love it. I will sit and I will play with this all day, every day, and it's kind of become like my new obsession outside of Airtable. It's like, okay, I have all this stuff in Airtable, now what can I do with it? What can I put on for the outside user? What can they see? What can they do? What can they edit? You know, my next steps are, for me as a business, okay, I've taken now all of these emails that I've automated to them already. Now, how can I get an automated response back to them or back from them, right? It's a little hard for us when I say, hey, do you have this document? And if the answer might be, you know, no, or, you know, we're working on it. But I want the ability to say, do you have this document? If they say yes, then it's gonna upload that to my Airtable base. It's going to change that status. And unless anyone else has any suggestions on that, closest thing I can find right now is doc parser or mail parser, which can strip and look at my emails and based on conditions can pull documents and things from that and trigger from there. I don't even know what time it is or where I'm at, and I'm just rambling. So, thank you. Does anyone have like a use case or a thought, or let's make it a friendly thought if there's a thought, but something that you would see or would possibly want to see this integrate with Airtable with? Like, what could you use it for? I think for me, invoices was like the most generic I could make it besides social media posts.
I mean, we review applications, so right now, yes, you can make a pretty PDF of the application.
You could absolutely make a pretty PDF of the application of everything that came in. You could send it back to them saying, this is what you just submitted, please confirm. Are there any changes that need to be made to it? And then in there in your buttons have yes or no, and then it pulls up their editability form that they can then submit, right? So all of that's possible. I like that.
I run a lot of social media ads for our recruiting team, and like I could see, yeah, I have an intake form and I have to give me the role, the hourly rate, things like that, and I could see just putting this stuff on an image and then sending it out for review really easily.
I think anytime that there's a review, I think that's a big thing to hold on to, right? That I can go out there and say, this is what I just generated, literally because the program generated it on the back end. Here it is in an email, click on the link, but here's that review on the bottom. Do you approve? Yes or no, right? Yes, no, make edits. Yes, no, you're fired. Whatever you want to do. I am a big, like I said, you know, I streamlined my business and took it down to as much as, you know, few as people as possible. And I've always talked about how do I get the people out of my business, which is, you know, probably not a good business model, but it's my model. But it's AI right now is the talk of everything, which I completely agree with, right? AI is crazy and amazing, and what it can do is extraordinary, but it's also not the solution to everything. There is still human touch, there is still human error, and there are still plenty of components that you can set up on your own, put it through automation, not having to utilize AI, and like Kuvan said, don't utilize it for formulas, right? There's plenty that it doesn't do, where if AI is not the solution to your business, automation probably is, right? So what can you automate? What can you push out there? What can you get somebody to change, and, you know, possibly get them off your payroll? But that's my thoughts. So, go ahead.
Not just get them off your payroll, but that you can free that up to find them to do more useful things.
Yes. So streamlining it to the point where, yeah, you're not paying somebody to do something, one that obviously a computer can do, put their brains to work, right? Utilize them for something else. And just, yeah, I mean, for me, it's, if you can automate it, just automate it. Do every and anything you can. I don't think there's any sort of limit when it comes to what you can put out there, so.
I had a specific question about the email.
Mm-hmm.
The HTML for this email, do you have to export it, or does it, you like shoot it into Airtable, or?
So what's really nice, so you'll get this on the slide first and foremost, but what's really nice about this is there are walkthroughs for everything. So if I go here and I go to instructions, and I go down and, oh, not this one, because that's not the email, sorry. Let me get back to the email one and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. In a sense, though, to answer your question, you don't have to export the HTML. You are pulling in a script into Airtable, of which is provided to you. That script output is what you are putting into the email that is getting sent.
And that's you sending that through Make or through Airtable's native email?
I am personally sending that through Airtable still. Yep.
And is it the Gmail email?
That one's a Gmail email.
Can they take HTML? I thought it was only the Markdown language.
They take HTML now. It's kind of limited. I've seen it doesn't work with some things,
Oh, okay.
but
Much
But it'll take
HTML.
like breaks and it doesn't
Yes.
basically.
Obviously,
So
there's this.
you can
Yeah.
see I'm running a script, right? Again, we're pulling that Airtable or that AeroPage. That was really clever naming, by the way, because I keep calling it Airtable and it's AeroPage. He provides the script, everything in there, how to put it in, and then from there, I'm gonna get my output of which, there it is, this one. I'm saying who's going to, and this will be your script output, right? So script, I've got an error on it, so it's not gonna work. And it's probably because I duplicated my base, but even though I didn't use it for any of this.
So that script contains everything it needs to build and render the email?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go, earnest money is a good one. There's the script. I do always put a fail-safe on everything I do. So in this case, if anything within that HTML output says error, it is not going to send the email because it has happened, right? He was in development, and he's still in development. He was in development though a year ago, and there was plenty of times where something would happen and I would get an email that sent out that just said like, status error, AeroPage, can't read like hex code, and I was just like, oh, that looks great. So I had to put that fail safe. So within there, sorry, there you go. There's my email HTML output, and you can see too with, you know, into as little of a display as I can give you is after it runs that script, there's the whole rendering of it. And if I go back into it, so you can see like this one, I've got a condition. I had said where our representation type contains seller and this fee is not empty. And I can do and ors here as well with the conditions. And if I can preview it, I can send a test to me, but again, it's all right there for you. Oh, I was gonna show you the, how to get that into Airtable. Designing it.
How is this free?
I don't know how it's free.
How would you pay for that?
Trust me, I have asked him no less than 5 times. Like, why? And to my understanding, they're catering to these like major corporations, and I'm sorry if you're one of them, but I'm not, right? If you are a business with 100 people or less, I don't think that that's the clientele they're really going for, and I do think they're trying to be in competition with other stuff. But as far as I can tell, and as far as many times as he's told me, there is no charge coming. He said if there is a charge ever coming, it is going to be very nominal and very competitive to what is out there. So anyway, so there's the script. So like I said, so it walks you through everything, right? For Airtable automations, you are copying this script, you're pasting your sharing link there, you're adding your input variable. It walks you through it all. Even walks you through make scenarios and Zapier, if you want to bring it in that way too.
That's gorgeous.
So it's a beautiful platform. You know, full disclosure, it's a platform like anything else. So you might hit some bumps, some bruises, some glitches, some errors. But they're also very quick on the, you know, I ran into this issue or this didn't come in. And they will get it fixed or implemented. Or my big thing that I said I wanted, because we did launch this template based in Airtable that we sell to TCs across the country, I said I want to take what I did in AeroPage and I want to sell it again, right? I want to give it to somebody else. I can't do that right now unless I recreate it. And he's got templates on his docket to roll out to be able to create templates and do it. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know if I'm running over, if I'm just blabbling.
You have plenty of time.
My boyfriend, I said that last night at dinner, and he's like, "Don't say blabbling."
How does it handle attachment URLs?
Say that again.
Attachment URLs?
You're gonna have to explain to me what you mean by that. 'Cause not attaching by the URL like we did
Like
earlier.
if you have an attachment in Airtable that you wanted to incorporate into what you're creating or an email that you're sending out or.
As long as the URL exists and is live, I don't believe there's any issues with it. I haven't
An
run.
attachment field, something
It just
from
shows up as a picture.
Oh, it shows up as the picture or the attachment.
It was.
Sorry, yeah. I was my brain was going into the whole Airtable URLs are like going away type thing, and I'm like, there's a solution on AeroPage too for that, but I don't know enough about it to tell you that. The permanent attachment and URLs is where my head went. But with like the picture you see in the background here and the headshot of the person, those are attachment fields in my base. As not URLs, as an actual image. I don't know if that's answering the question or
And
not.
what happens,
Once it grabs the data, it stays there. Or it's fetching it how every so often.
Yeah, and every time
Okay.
it pulls the URL, it pulls it again.
That doesn't work with reality.
So you're back.
I've never had it break, so I'm just gonna put it that way.
So like if you send an email with the URL of an attachment, is it pulling the expiring URL?
This is HTML.
It would be pulling the URL, yes, that is in Airtable at that point.
So you'd be getting the expired
You would be
one.
getting the expired one. Now, that being said, I don't know how this works, and I don't know the details of it, but he does have permanent attachment abilities, and that would be something to explore as far as those URLs go. Has anyone actually run into the I'm sure you have, into the broken URLs, but like, I haven't had it affect me yet.
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
It's like how you're
entire
using
portal
it.
I had to redo.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and I don't know if it's because after 30 days, I guess, I'm not utilizing data, or I'm not utilizing attachments and stuff like that again. I actually clear out all my attachments at that point to save on,
Attachments,
with speed and all of that, yeah, and then attachment limits and everything. So, yes, to that point, I don't know. Yep.
So the background photo that you put in that's like the same every time, is that just an attachment field in every record in your Airtable?
No, that is the image that I created in Canva
Yeah.
and then hosted it on Imager. And then I took that URL. And I said, in a sense, I said add an image, right? And I
Right.
pasted that URL
Just
here.
right there. 'Cause
Yep.
It was looking for like in my Airtable, but I can just paste the URL right there. And
You can paste
okay.
the URL directly right there,
Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
which might help.
Bypassing Airtable completely. for that
Bypassing
part.
Airtable completely with the URLs, so.
You could just scrape the URL, like you can do a Google search and then pull the URL from an image and do
Mhm.
the same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but it gets dangerous if that image moves or the language changes.
Yep.
Yeah, good point.
Because it's always gonna be that URL. Look at it slow down now. Yes. Like, at least it wasn't at the beginning, dear Lord. Okay.
You've impressed us already.
Oh, thank you.
You can't pull in like a Photoshop file with layers and have those in there, right?
Not layers.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything with layers.
Okay.
So for me with that, if I'm pulling in multiple images and stuff like that, they're all separate. I want the ability to say, like, in a sense, make a 2-page document, right? And then go through it or pull that data from Airtable. That's not in there yet,
Okay.
but I don't see why it wouldn't be in there. Oh, I broke it.
This isn't a fancy use case, but if you guys were in my first session where we did the trivia, that was using AeroPage. And so I set up the questions and answers, and then I filled it, so I didn't have to actually make each slide. It just pulled the information from Airtable.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I love it.
It's great. It's awesome.
But yeah, I think that's really about it, unless people have questions or comments or want me to make anything else. But that's about all I have, and yeah, I have 7-8 different email automations that get sent out every day, and we send out like 70 at a time every morning, 8 o'clock, no issues. So.
That's awesome.
So you have said that you love having free tools, but obviously not all of these tools that you use are free. How do you decide when you're deciding like when a tool is ready to make the leap to you paying for it and at what level?
Scalability. Can I use it for multiple use cases? That's my thing, right? Can I take that tool and I'll be honest, if AeroPage cost me $500 a month, I'd probably pay for it. I would, because it took so many different tools. The ability to edit records, the social media posts, all of that, and made it to where I could condense it and put it into one tool, and that cost outweighed everything else. This one was free. But same with Zapier. That was the reason I left Zapier, was because of the cost, and I went, one, not only, like, I had to learn Make, like everyone, right? I knew, I'm not dumb, but, but, I mean, we'll be honest, Make takes, just like, you guys talking about the irritators and aggregators and stuff, I haven't even touched that yet, because I find workarounds, and I'm just like, okay, it doesn't do what I want it to do, I'm gonna make it do something else that gets me some sort of result the same, right? So when I went to Make, it was like, oh my God, I gotta retrain my brain. But I knew it could do everything I'd already been doing, plus more. And at this point, I think I have 11 or 12 different Make scenarios, of which in Zapier, I wanna say were like 30, and I transferred them all in a weekend type deal.
That's fast.
Yeah, I like to call my weekends my build weekend, because I will literally wake up at 4 o'clock every morning. Today I was up at 3:30, but I will wake up 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I can sit in front of my computer till 8 o'clock at night, and I won't stop.
Oh,
right?
that sounds like such a fun day.
Right? See, this group gets that. Everyone else I tell that to is like, you are insane. And I'm like, I know, but it's what my weekends are, because I work. I actually have a day job. I can't do that on the weekends, but I also enjoy it because I think if I did that every day, I don't know if I could.
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like I take those weekends and I put on the headphones and it's like zoned out, and everything is implemented.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just for me, it's a matter of use case. I will pay double, right? I was paying for Zapier at the same time I was paying for Make while I was doing all of those and moving them over, making sure there's no errors, making sure it's doing everything I want to do. I will pressure test. But as long as I can see the longevity of it, the scalability of it, and to be able to do what I want to do plus more, I'll make the jump in a heartbeat. So, although I'm not leaving Airtable, like ever,
No.
ever. So, yeah.
If there is time.
I don't know. When is it supposed to end? 5:30?
We still got like,
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I don't know if anyone's heard of the software Document. Also
Yes,
very
I used to
great.
use Document,
Okay, and then you use this instead?
and now I use this instead.
How does it handle dynamics?
Line
For my
items.
invoices, I need line items, and I need those line items. I could have 2, I could have 10, and it expands, and those line items come from linked record fields. And so I'm curious, how does this handle that?
I would use, I'll use my summary reports if this will open. So this is one field in my base. This
Wait.
part here, right?
Oh, that whole left side, or right side.
That is, yeah. I like that side.
That's why we have 500 fields and we need more.
That's why we have 500 fields, to roll them all up into one to look really pretty like this. But so when it comes to it, if I'm making something that I need to format, I will format it in the base first, I guess, if that makes sense, and then I will bring it in. I can bring in my bolts and I can do all of that here. I can do new lines, and then if you truly wanted it, you could do whatever item you're doing here, right? And then drop it down and just say, if record count does not equal 2,
But his point
right,
is,
don't bring in the next one.
I think his point is though, with document, how it benefits is that, like, if you wanted to have the space there on contract type, if there were multiple, it's not gonna push occupancy type down
Yeah.
because that's an image. And so.
Oh, this ain't
eventually-
pushing anything anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
So,
So,
document-
no, so if
Yeah.
I go in here and I start, I don't know, let's
So
just
this is
write
a lot
test
like
a whole bunch
Page
of times.
Designer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a lot like Page Designer, but Page Designer you can't put in an attachment field.
No, you can't. But what you could do is you could get a Google Docs as a template, and then if you use variables inside
That's
of
what I
Google
do.
Docs with the double squigglies, you could do the same thing. This is still better, but that is just
There's
also.
different applications.
Hey,
different
nobody
things
tell
for
Mike
sure.
over at AeroPage I did this, but I started my invoices in AeroPage and then I went to Google Docs. So technically my invoices are now back through Google Docs, only
Right.
two because I liked the cleanliness
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to put them into Google Drive or Dropbox because we integrate our Dropbox with Airtable as well, and I wanted to pull all of that stuff from it. And also with Google Sheets, we do like commission breakdown, so you're breaking down a purchase price and not just commission, but what's going to the brokerage and what are they splitting their team and who are they paying this and all, like we had all of this math
Mhm.
that you had going on that you could dynamically do in Google Sheets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I went that route with those ones specifically, but to your point here, right? I had this field, now I've got 10 of these things. It's only because my mouse is not wanting to participate right now. It did not push any of the fields below it
No.
down
Yeah.
like document would, right?
Yeah.
Where it would
Okay.
skew everything. And that's just a matter too of knowing like, okay, if I have a field that's going to have 10 or 15 things, I need to have the spot for it.
Right.
So the rest of it has to be aesthetically there.
That makes sense.
So.
But this still fits a huge role in some of the stuff I want to do.
Yeah. Let me put that back because this guy is going out tomorrow.
Oh my god.
What are the font options like? Because we use like some proprietary fonts and whatnot. Like, you can use
So
Google
there
fonts or-
are a whole bunch of different fonts. I have not been, this is just the A's and I can go all the way down,
Okay.
right? There's a bunch of fonts. they do kind of give you sorry, I was going a little too fast. Shows you a little bit, you know, what the font looks like, right? It's not like you're just going to choose a font and be like, well, let's see what that is.
Do you happen to know if it pulls?
I
from
haven't been
Google
able to
Fonts?
find anything in there to bring in a font.
Okay.
But so I've utilized it as taking that font and then again, utilizing either colors that are in my base, things like that. We had somebody in our community that would take headshots, and whether or not they were facing left or right or